Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of September. I hope you are well. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss today. I was quite ill last week and I have somewhat of a residual cough, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to make it through the reading without hacking all over you. So if I do, apologies in advance. Whew. So, if you haven't seen these readings before, I structure them slightly differently to the main monthly reading, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I believe that there is a lesson or wisdom contained in every interaction and experience that we have, if we are open to seeing it. And often we are not, because we get bogged down with the day-to-day stuff and we lose sight of the bigger picture. So it's an exercise in perspective, if you will. And to that end, what we're going to do is we're going to pull 3 cards and look at your current energy right now, see where you are, as an energetic snapshot, if you will. And then we will pull 3 cards and we will work out why you are there in the first place. Now, sometimes it's trying to teach you something about yourself. Sometimes it's trying to give you a different perspective on something, have something leave your life, show you where something's trying to come in. We won't know until the cards hit the table, right? But the lesson or the wisdom is kind of the important thing. And I've found over the years that it's helped me navigate quite challenging energy if I can work out why I'm in it in the first place. And so that's why we're doing it like that. We will close out with 3 cards of advice. Let's see if we can't help you get through this a little bit more intact. Let's put it that way. Yeah, so that's that. Also, the 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs, they run from July to December. We're more than a third of the way through that, so I've knocked down the prices of those. If you have not yet seen those and you're interested in checking them out, the link is in the description box. I would really like for people to see the messages that are in that, because I think that they're important. I really do think they're important. So they're between 2 and 3 hours long, so you know, it's definitely make yourself a brew and set a bit of time aside. Anywho, if you're on Patreon, you get access to all that extended content for no extra cost. So let's have a look and see where you are right now, Aries. 3 cards for Aries. There's the first one. Wow. Starting off with a banger, we've got Death. 2 more cards for Aries, please. Thank you. We have the 9 of Wands. 1 more card for Aries. Well, that's 2. The fuck. We've got the 5 of Pentacles and the King of Cups in reverse. We do have the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck here, followed by the Page of Swords and the Hermit. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that you are going through somewhat of a fairly intense and I think slightly painful transformation at the moment, Aries. And I don't think you're done yet by the look of these cards. If we skip straight to the end here, these 2 cards that came out together, the King of Cups in reverse and the 5 of Pentacles. The King of Cups is about emotional security and stability. Right? It's the card of Scorpio, the 2nd card of Scorpio that we have on the table here. And it can talk about having strong emotional reactions and strong emotional feelings. When it's turned the other way around, there are a number of different interpretations that we can apply here. And the first is, you know, that perhaps there are relationships around you that have been crumbling and that they're leaving you in a state of some distress at the moment, you know, in terms of your reaction to them. It's almost like feeling almost nothing for these people who are around you, right? That's a possibility. But the other possibility is that you may be receiving that from other people. Like that may be the state of play for you, in that it just seems like some people have just switched off an emotional tap around you, and that is leaving you feeling out in the cold. It's making you feel abandoned. It's putting you in a state where you're not addressing your own basic needs because a lot of attention is going on other people rather than the work on yourself. Now, this is where I think the shift is occurring for you, because Like, this is really difficult energy here. King of Cups in reverse and Five of Pentacles. I mean, it could be that you have somebody in your midst who's actually really quite emotionally manipulative. There are probably other cards that I would like to see for that. But there's definitely a lack of emotion that has been surrounding you, whether that is from you to other people, from you towards yourself, or from other people towards you. I'm not entirely sure. But the end result is that things are just feeling really difficult at the moment. It's like places that would have been ports in a storm for you for some reason are no longer available. Tell me about this. More cards in reverse, please. We've got the King of Wands in the upright. Now that might be you. Could be a Leo or a Sagittarius. And we've got the Hanged Man. Yeah, no. Oof. I'm going to take that. It's the Moon. It fell out to the side, but I think it's probably appropriate. What do we have here? We have the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, but I do notice that it is followed by the World. And again, the Hermit is behind that, and the Five of Cups is behind that, and the Five of Wands is behind that. What's this card here? And there's the Magician. Now, when I said that there were other cards that I might look for, excuse me, to indicate manipulative people around you, the Magician in combination with either the Knight of Cups or the King of Cups would be one that I would expect to see. And there he is, right at the bottom of this set of cards, underpinning all of this. And so I think perhaps at this point you are not aware of the extent to which you have been manipulated. The Five of Wands is conflict, argument. The Five of Cups is grief and despair and a sense of loss. The Hermit is that card of retreating into yourself. You know, it can be a card of going in search of inner wisdom, but with the cards that we've got around it, it actually feels like you've been incredibly isolated. Five of Pentacles, from normal support mechanisms that would have been open to you for whatever reason. And I think it all revolves around this. It revolves around the breakdown of some sort of relationship. Now, it's possibly more than one relationship, to be honest. Because if we're to take this King of Wands as you, and at this point I feel like I do want to take that as you, what we've either got here is a change in the way that you are starting to see yourself, or a sense of conflict between a need to act and a need to stand still, or a need to act and an inability to act, right? So there are all sorts of things that you want to do to fix a particular situation, but actually at this point you're nailed to a tree, and it doesn't matter what you do, there's no movement in any kind of way. I can see both of these things being appropriate. But the Hanged Man does talk often about a change of perspective. And so I think, you know, whether it's immediately the first or the second option, I think there is a change that is happening within you in the way that you see yourself moving forwards. I mean, the Moon card is all about the bits, the things that are hidden. Now, is this hidden behavior by somebody else, or is this bits of your subconscious that is coming up now for you to look at, for you to really deal with, you know? I seem to recall, and it's very dim, but I seem to recall us talking a little while back, a reading or two back, about your sense of abandonment, you know, where that came from in childhood. And is there something of a repeat of an old pattern, an old cycle, an old event even, from a much younger version of you, Aries, that is playing out here at the moment and you are feeling powerless to do anything about? I think possibly so. But the good news is that you as an adult Aries, you as literally the universe experiencing itself at this point, can choose to do things differently. When these things happened before, you know, you did not know all the things that you know now. And perhaps if this tracks right back to childhood, and often this kind of situation does, then at that point you did not have the power, you did not have the autonomy to choose anything other than what was inflicted upon you. Little dogs, what's the point of them? I ask you, right, honestly. But you do now. You can choose. You can choose. Like, let's just leave it there. You can choose to do things differently, to not do something. You know, you have autonomy now. You have the ability to do all of these things. And regardless of what is happening around you, what is falling down around you, you still are who you are. You are still valid. You are still worthy. The word hatchet job is what I just heard. It feels like somebody is trying to do a hatchet job on you at the moment. And part of you is responding to that, but part of you is choosing to attempt to view this differently, to act differently in response. And that's powerful, Aries. That's really powerful. Now, if we come back to where we started, what we've got is the Death and the Nine of Wands cards. Death, like I said, is the card of Scorpio, and Scorpio is absolutely synonymous with transformation, particularly personal transformation and evolution. And I think no matter how difficult things are feeling at the moment, you're a considerable way along the path towards this sense of transformation, toward this actually acknowledging and feeling the transformation that is going on within. I think at the moment you're probably too bound by circumstances, bogged down with circumstances, to notice what is going on outside of you on a broader spectrum, you know, how you are changing and how you are evolving. It feels like a very, very difficult lesson that you're being put through at the moment, Aries. Very difficult. But you are built to withstand this. And on the other side of this process, you will be stronger. Because I really do feel like you're being presented with old situations, or a repetition of old situations, a repetition of old cycles that give you an opportunity to choose this time. To not to control the situation, but to control yourself and how you choose to stay in or move out of any given thing, right? Aries is a warrior. And it feels to me at this point you feel like anything but a warrior. The Nine of Wands is a card of, you know, finding some energy from somewhere right at the bottom of your fucking boots and hauling yourself up, even though it's the last thing that you want to do at this point in time. You know, it's a card of good boundaries, yes, and are your boundaries where they should be? Possibly not, because your energy is so low at the moment, right? Everything feels 10 times harder than it should be. And honestly, I think there's a very toxic energy in your midst at the moment, and it is draining you. Now, how you stop that happening is by plugging up the leaks in you. Right? See how it is possible for someone to access that in you. How do you allow that in? And then fucking rescind your permission for that. Mate, no. I'm looking after me now. I'm not going to let my energy be sucked out of me, leached out of me by X, Y, and Z. The Nine of Wands indicates that what is hard is coming to completion, but it's not quite yet there. The Death card, again, is about transformation, but I feel like this is a process that is happening really literally as we speak with you. It's not like you've quite hit the home straight yet, but it is coming, and that's the important thing. And the way that you bring this about, you know, the way that you bring this to you more closely, more swiftly even, is by turning your attention within, turning your attention to yourself, and looking at what is being triggered in you from the past. Because with this Queen of Cups and Page of Swords and the Hermit card, like there's definitely a sense here of old things coming to the surface to be healed in you. Now, if we just scroll even deeper through this deck of cards, what follows the Hermit is the Seven of Swords and the Devil, and then the Temperance card and the Three of Swords. And I just want to take a moment to show you this Three of Swords, because in the Tarot of the Abyss there are two depictions of the Three of Swords, and this is the alternate one. Yeah, the other one is the one that we would expect to see, and with somebody's, you know, heart ripped out basically and eviscerated. This is about learning lessons from the past. Now, don't forget, we are about to head into our final Mercury retrograde of the year. Excuse me. It's either the 22nd or the 27th, I think it's something like that, but we are currently in the shadow phase. So the energy of the retrograde is beginning to build now. So we'll do for 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the 2-week period that the retrograde occurs. And this is an opportunity to go over old ways of doing things. Like everything to do with your past is supported by the energy of Mercury retrograde. It's like tying up loose ends, making sure that you did things properly the first time around. It's like, it's often a second chance at something, but you get it like 3 times a year. Whatever is rising now in you, it's asking you to look at it and face it head on. And it's not going to be easy, Aries, because we've got a huge amount of healing being indicated here as necessary for you with this Sagittarian energy of the Temperance card. But the Devil and the Seven of Swords together, where are you stuck? Where are you trapped? Where are you bound? And where are you allowing this to happen, Aries? I think that this is really, really important, because you feel incredibly disempowered to me at the moment. And you feel to me like there is something that's got you around the neck. There is something that is leaching out your energy from you. And there is something, there's just toxic and deceitful and deceptive behavior and energy kind of surrounding you at the moment. And I do not feel like it has its emanation from you. This is, there's an external locus here, and it's directed at you. So how you take control of this situation is by, like I say, rescinding permission for this to occur. And you do that by taking care of yourself and yourself alone, and working on whatever issues are being brought to the fore that sit within you, that are stopping you from moving at this point. You know, the Hermit absolutely indicates that internal journey that must occur. Don't forget that we had the Moon, excuse me, also backing that up. But with the Page of Cups and Page of Swords and the Queen of Cups, so I see the Page of Swords as that energy of seeing the world differently, because it's swords, and so it's very cerebral. It's related to the brain, and the brain is a 3D processing machine, right? Just takes in input and then it tells you what it means. But it seems to me like you've been in the dark for quite a long time, and you've been wandering around this maze, and you just fucking bounced off every single wall. There's probably spiky things in there as well, and you just have not known where you are. You're getting an opportunity to look up and see a source of illumination, Aries. And what is being illuminated is your internal space, right? You are strong. You are a warrior. And if you feel anything other than that at this point in time, then it's time to deal with that situation. It's time to knock it on the head. It's time to change your response. It's time to choose what is right for you. You know? Queen of Cups, as the whole cup suit is about the way that you receive. And I think that it's quite interesting that we have this King of Cups in the reverse here. And that is an unpleasant energy there. But what you're being pointed to is what you will tolerate from people. You know, where are you too open at this point? Where are you not exercising good boundaries? Where are you letting people take the piss? Because I do think that you have people who are taking the piss in your midst, Aries. And anything that makes you feel anything other than fucking tip-top needs to be shown the door pretty pronto. Right, let's give these a little shuffle in, and then let's have a look and see why you are here. Why is Aries in this energy? We have the Seven of Cups. Oh, taking all of those, that's too many. We have the Seven of Cups there. Why is Aries in this energy, please? We have the Ace of Cups. And we have the Star. Oh, Aries, that's so beautiful. We've got the Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and it's so appropriate. Right? There is a lot here that is waiting to be left behind by you. Right? There's a lot of stuff that is sat occupying your head and your heart. And frankly, the things that are sitting in there are trespassing. They are squatting your internal space, and they need to be evicted. This is the most recent iteration of situations and circumstances that you have found yourself in far too fucking often in your life. Now, the common denominator in that, Aries, is you. So where do you have to change your response? Where do you have to choose differently? You know, when we're looking at why you are here in this energy at the moment, right, the very first card is the Seven of Cups. It's that complete emotional confusion where everything is an illusion. Your feet aren't touching the ground. You are not grounded at the moment, Aries. And every decision that you're making at the moment, you should have it in mind that you are not grounded. You should look for ways to ground yourself. But understanding that quite a lot of what surrounds you and quite a lot of what you're feeling inside is illusory in nature is really quite important, because the energy here is trying to show you how to love yourself and love yourself first. Now, when there is a lesson that is being dealt out to us, very rarely are they dealt out in nice, comfortable ways. Usually they're extremely painful, and certainly in my circumstance, I can tell you that sometimes they've been excessively cruel. And that is a word that I would use to describe where I feel you are at the moment. Like, you're in a situation that is excessively cruel. And until you come to a point where you say, enough is a fucking enough. So I'm going to split. Oh, I forgot there's a word for what I just did there. I've forgotten what it was. Expletive infixation. There you go. Hey, you fucking remembered. That's cool. Yes, this card is about new love. Right? It is. For someone or for something or for yourself, or it's a renewal of that. And Aries, what this energy here is trying to show you how to burst out of your own fucking chest with emotion, with love for yourself, putting yourself first, not allowing people to suck and drain you as they have been doing, right? Building these fucking amazing boundaries. There's something really beautiful on the other side of this lesson for you, but I fear that you're spiraling at this point. It is spiraling, and it's going to take a lot of conscious effort from you to say enough is enough. It stops now, whether that's to someone else or whether that is to yourself. And look at what it is that you're reacting to. Look at what it is that you're responding to right now. Where are the correlations with your past? How do you change that? How do you choose differently? And how do you begin to rebuild hope in yourself? Because this is what it is. It's about self-reliance that comes from a place of being in tune with yourself, emotionally stable, understanding the potential of everything that your life contains still, no matter how many decades or how few decades you have left on the planet. There is a lot that can be achieved by you here. It's not coming from a place of self-sufficiency that is rooted in trauma, with a background of either, extreme neglect or having been in an extremely controlling environment, you know. I really do feel like these are themes that are being thrown up in the air, and you need to make sure that you're looking at them and not looking somewhere else and saying, well, this is just life, isn't it? It's just shit. And sometimes it is. But when you can start to achieve perspective, and I think it's coming slowly, you realize that life can be incredibly magical too. Like, what do you want from it? Because at the moment, I don't feel like you're putting a lot into yourself at all, Aries, and that's... What are you pining for here? Because it feels like that. It feels like you're pining for something and you're just kind of letting yourself shrivel up in the face of whatever is going on around you. But it's all got to start with you here. It's got to start with what is going on here. How you see yourself, how you forgive yourself, how you are compassionate to yourself. You can't expect it from anywhere else. It's got to start here first. You show the world how you want to be treated by how you treat yourself. And Aries, it's saying to me here that you've not really treated yourself very nicely. And it's time that changed. Let's get some cards of advice. And just like that, everybody was gone and it was quiet. Wow. There's some cards of advice for Aries, please. Ooh, that one wanted to come out. King of Wands. Again. The Wise One, which is the Hierophant. Oh, and Awakening, which is the Judgment card. We've got the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Aries, it feels like the joy is there's no joy in your life at the moment. It feels like this is a journey of finding that again, right? There's a new paradigm that's being built here. It's foundational level stuff, but it doesn't stay here forever. You know, once you've started doing this work on yourself, then things around you will improve. The type of people that are around you will be more resonant with who you are and who you are becoming. But I mean, King of Wands. Now this is either a Leo in your midst who, you know, has some very helpful advice for you, or else it's about really taking charge of the situation. That's not something that Aries usually has a problem with, certainly in external situations. But taking charge of yourself, you know, what are you doing? Like, as a fire sign, if you're feeling really, really low, you need to move your body, Aries. Like, it's absolutely critical for all human beings to do that. But honestly, a fire sign that does not move their body, whether it's through exercise or dance or just getting out for a walk or something, like making the blood pump in your body is one of the most healing things that there is for a fire sign. So if you find that you've been sitting around and not doing very much, this is not going to be helping you, right? So start getting active, start doing something, start getting a sweat on with something, even if it's just, you know, clearing out the shed or something like that. You know, just do something that starts getting your heart rate up. Hierophant. I love this Hierophant card because there is an equality to it, but it feels like it's different aspects of you. You know, we've got this elder here with the headdress on and sat on the floor with two very much younger people. There's so much more wisdom within you than you think that there is, and at this point I don't think that you even trust the wisdom that you have. But it's kind of like, sit down with yourself, you know, if necessary, externalize this situation in your own mind, right? So you walk into the situation and you find a really good friend of yours, a family member of yours, who is being you at the moment. What do you say to them? You know, when they go, everything's fucking shit, there's no fucking point. Or you go, yeah, you're right, it's all bollocks, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't do that. Not for somebody that you care about. You would sit with them and you'd say, tell me your woes. Let me help you gain some sort of perspective on this. Everything isn't nearly as fucked as it feels like it is, you know. You would do that out of care. You would do that probably for a lot of people, you know. The question is, why are you not doing it for yourself? You know, there are some huge themes here that are being thrown up for you to look at. And the very first thing, I think, is taking a moment to see yourself as you actually are, rather than as your brain is telling you you are. Because it feels to me like you're tying yourself up in knots with the little things. Like, keep it simple. Keep it really fucking simple. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to you finding a way to embody that. You need to sit down and have a conversation with all of these different aspects of yourself. You know, your higher self, your younger self, who you are right now, who you want to be in the future. Sit down and have a fucking conflab. Say, all right, boys, where did this go wrong? How do we fix this, right? It's about the doing for you, Aries. And the last card is Awakening. Now, this is the Judgment card in this particular deck, in the Tarot of the Abyss. But I tell you what, like, as a card just literally meaning awakening, like, I don't like using any other meaning for it, because I mean, look at it. Yeah. It always looks to me, as I look at this, that this divine being, this angel, whatever it is, has emerged from the body of something that is on the ground. You know, what we've got here is the moment a butterfly emerges. Spiritual awakenings, we hear about a lot of talk about those sort of things, right? And everybody goes, well, everybody sort of assumes that it's like you sit there and you just light pouring out of your head and you're just like, I can understand the universe, I'm fucking so connected, and all of these things. Do you know what? Spiritual awakenings actually aren't always like that. Usually they're about really hitting the fucking ground very fucking hard from a very high place and lying there and going, I'm broken and I can't get back up again, because the content of my head and my heart is too painful. And somehow, in some way, in an act of magic, we rebuild ourselves when we're on the floor. And then we stand up again. Only this time you're growing wings, Aries. This is a huge spiritual awakening, and it is probably very painful, and it is certainly very difficult and challenging. But this is the work. This is the work that we all do. And on the other side of this, you have this. And there's a piece here, Aries, that's a long time coming for you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I understand if you don't want to comment underneath the video, because this seems very personal and very, very difficult, but just throw the video a like or something so that I know that I'm reaching the right people. All right. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.